Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. Gyökerez has been given permission by Sporting Lisbon to do his medicals at Arsenal. He's going to be flying with Christian Mosquera, joining up with the Arsenal team in Singapore and Hong Kong, and will be doing his medicals in Singapore, not in London. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. The biggest story is Arsenal will be signing one more attacking player, not two more, one more attacking player after Victor Gyökeres, and Arsenal are considering a couple of options. Some, very, very well known, and others kind of covered. We'll be talking about Rodrygo, we'll be talking about Eze, we'll be talking about Xavi Simons, and we'll be talking about the other alternatives that Arsenal will be looking at. And obviously, what next after Victor Gyökeres? What's going to happen next? Are we going to go, quiet? Are we going to focus on outgoings? Are there some contract negotiations that we need to get over the line? All that and more in this episode. Wow. Welcome back to the channel. Mikel Arteta was given more money, right? Mikel Arteta was given more money, and we have seen what that more money has done. Because it was reported yesterday that Mikel was given a lot more money than the budget that he had actually got at the beginning of the window. And on the same day that we reported that, on the same day, we get the Gyökeres deal done. That means that, yes, there is a bit of cash. There is a bit of cash that has actually come into the Arsenal account, and the boys have actually spent it very well. And courtesy of that, Victor Gyökeres has been granted permission to do his medicals at Arsenal. The player is going to be flying to Singapore, where Arsenal are, for the Singapore and Hong Kong Emirates Cup Challenge. I don't know, whatever you want to call that. Where we shall play AC Milan, Tottenham, and Newcastle on the 23rd, the 27th, and I think the 31st as well of this month, right? So, Victor Gyökeres to Arsenal. Obviously, we got that. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano yesterday, and the total confirmation from David Ornstein yesterday as well. We can confirm now that Victor Gyökeres has been given permission to do his medicals at Arsenal, and he's going to be doing them from Singapore. So I think what Mikel Arteta is trying to do here, because it's been reported that both Mosquera and Victor Gyökeres will not be part of the first game that happens today against AC Milan in the Emirates Cup Challenge, but there is a very big possibility that they settle in by Wednesday, which is today, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then on Sunday they can actually go and do a bit of, I don't know if they can really play 90 minutes. I don't think they will play 90 minutes, but they can do a bit of an unveiling, and maybe we can see their first debuts, right? We can see their debuts on Sunday. But even if that doesn't happen, we have that last game against Tottenham Hotspur, where we'll have to play the last game in Asia. So Gyökeres, you will see him in Asia, probably Sunday earliest, but the most I would say ideal date for you to expect to see Victor Gyökeres in an Arsenal jersey on the pitch is going to be the 31st, when Arsenal take on Newcastle in the third game of pre-season. Medicals will be done in Asia, as confirmed, not in London. Mikel Arteta wants these guys to join up as quickly as possible. And that now marks the 6th signing of the summer that Arsenal have done and completed this, this summer. Looks like in terms of incomings, we have actually done the job. But there is a story proliferating on the blogs and also online that Arsenal are not done yet. And that is from this man, Fabrizio Romano. Romano says, well, Arsenal would love to be done, but realistically, do I want to tell you the truth? Yes, Arsenal are not done when it comes to signings. They're going to be doing one more attacking player after Victor Gyökeres. Now, there's a story that came from David Ornstein. It came in from, I think it came in yesterday or yesterday but one. If it came in yesterday, because if it had come in yesterday but one, I would have reported about it. So it came in yesterday. And David Ornstein said that Arsenal are big admirers of Eze and Xavi Simons, but a move for Eze and Xavi Simons has currently cooled down, especially after Ethan Munyeri signing that long-term deal. And I was asking myself, David Ornstein is the same journalist that said Nwaneri didn't ask for guaranteed game time. He was, any guarantees and demands for game time were not among the negotiations of Ethan Nwaneri's contract at Arsenal. And I said, okay. And Fabrizio said, no. Nwaneri was asking for guarantees on game time. He was asking, he was making demands on game time. So who do I really want to believe? I think David Ornstein working closely with James McNicholas, who's very close to Arsenal. I want to believe David Ornstein. But Fabrizio as well is such a remarkable brand. And has he ever disappointed us, Fabrizio? No, he has never disappointed us. So, but when David Ornstein says that Arsenal are cooling their interest, they are not really cooling their interest, but informal talks have actually cooled down a little bit on Eze and Xavi Simons after Ethan Nwaneri's contract. And we were told that Nwaneri was promised a more central role, 8/10. That kind of justifies Fabrizio's point that Arsenal really are not looking to. Ethan Nwaneri was asking for game time. I was asking for guarantees on game time. So if we're not signing Eze and we're not signing Xavi Simons, that means that the idea of Arsenal signing an attacking midfielder is rested at the moment, unless there is a huge market opportunity. And with Eze, I think Arsenal really wanted to do this deal at their own pace, under their own conditions and terms. They wanted to go in there, bid 45 million or pay 45 million guaranteed, and maybe about like 10 million in add-ons, and those add-ons should be realistic on Arsenal's end more than Crystal Palace. And Palace were like, fuck off. Go and get 68 million and come here and activate the release clause of the player, or get 68 million, which is the release clause value of the player's contract, and then we can negotiate. And I was like, no way. We don't need SF that desperately, that badly, according to them. We've got Ethan Nwaneri. Let's maybe turn over to Xavi Simons. And Xavi Simons is just a market opportunity because he was never expected to be available at the beginning of the campaign. At the beginning of the summer. And then all of a sudden, he became available at the beginning of this summer. And all of a sudden, before you know it, we have been told that the price is 56 million pounds. That is a great market opportunity. Okay? But Arsenal saying no, with Ethan Nwaneri, we are not really looking into that direction very, very strongly. Is that the right thing to do? Should Arsenal really trust Ethan Nwaneri to back up Odegaard and also be that creator behind Gyökeres? Yes and no. Yes, because he's a talent that I really, really love to make it, and a signing like Xavi Simons and Eze is going to overshadow him. No question about that. But not also because Arsenal at a critical, delicate stage where we are going to be needing to win, and we are very close to winning, and I don't think Ethan Nwaneri gets us over the line. He's too young for us to put all that burden on him. But he also needs the game time. He also needs the minutes. So it's confusing. But if Arsenal are cooling their interest in those two, then that begs a question. Where are Arsenal looking in terms of strengthening? Where are we looking in terms of strengthening this attack? Which is the one player that Arsenal are looking to bring in? And that takes us to the other two that are, really, really wanted and liked at the club. That is Rodrygo Gosh, right? Rodrygo Gosh and Anthony Gordon, right? Those two. So let's first talk about those two. Rodrygo and Anthony Gordon, would they make a massive difference even if you don't get Eze? Yes, they would. They would massively upgrade the left-hand side of the attack. The directness of Anthony Gordon, I like. The skill set of Rodrygo, I like more. So when it comes to Arsenal making a choice, right? Tastes and preferences, obviously, at work here. You can choose Gordon. You can choose Rodrygo. Who'd I choose? Look, Anthony Gordon every single fucking day. And Anthony Gordon, I go for. The reasons why I would go for Anthony Gordon, I think he makes it less congested in the penalty area, and he creates wider channels for Gyökeres, who loves to operate on the left-hand side as well. I think what Arsenal need on the left-hand side is a player like Gabriel Martinelli, but left-footed, right? Not right-footed, left-footed. Someone who is willing to go and make the pitch as big as possible, and that will create running ways for Gyökeres, for Rice, for Havertz, right? So if Arsenal really have to make one choice between these four, Anthony Gordon at Newcastle, Rodrygo Gosh at Real Madrid, Eze at Crystal Palace, and Xavi Simons at RB Leipzig, for me, you go Anthony Gordon. This sounds weird coming from me because I really like and I really rate Rodrygo. And I think Rodrygo would take Arsenal to the next level. But I kind of feel like Rodrygo is not what Arsenal need. Not really right now. And I was so obsessed with him. And I'm still obsessed with him. And I really like him. But if there is an option like Anthony Gordon, do that. He makes our team complete. Not better, but complete. And when you think about why Arsenal really signed Noni Madueke, he's a player that is purely left-footed, like Saka, but comfortable playing on the left-hand side of the attack. Ask yourself why. So the reason why Mikel Arteta is trying to do that is he knows that if you're left-footed and you're playing on the left-hand side, you're not going to look to cut inside. No, you can't. You're looking to go as wider and wider as possible. And as you go wider and wider as possible, you're dragging players out of position and you're pinning them into a corner of the pitch. And as you do that, you're creating unmarked spaces, in central zones. That is what PSG did when they scored their first goal against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Like, just to give you a picture. Kvaratskhelia just drags players out of position. I think, does it drag Timber? Is it Timber that he drags? I think it's Timber that he drags out of position. And because Timber's out of position, you find that other players are also out of position, trying to cover, right? Trying to create an overload against Kvaratskhelia. So he drags them out of position. He then plays that ball at the edge of the box in a most central area. And guess who's there? Dembele. But guess which Arsenal player is there? No one. Merino could have caught up with him. Maybe. I don't know. But that's the whole point of a natural left footer on the left. Drag players out of position, cut it back, play that ball back into the areas where those players are vacated, and all of a sudden, they realize they've got a big problem. And that's why I like Anthony Gordon. That's why I think if it is one more signing like this, Anthony Gordon. Now, these are the advantages of each of these players if we sign them alone. And these are the weaknesses and why we shouldn't sign them alone, okay? Okay, as the last signing. Let's do Rodrygo first. Rodrygo, game changer, has got the pace, individual brilliance, right? But he congests the areas where Gyökeres wants to operate. He congests the areas where Kai Havertz wants to operate, and Declan Rice as well. That's number one. Number two, he's just a big risk. It's just a big risk that Arsenal don't even need to take. If you have Anthony Gordon as an option, I think Rodrygo is a risk that you don't have to take. Yeah. So for me, Rodrygo I like, but Anthony Gordon I like more. Then Anthony Gordon, Premier League proven, fits the system, brings something different. He's direct. That is something Arsenal also need to have. And of course, that is why we signed Madueke. I want to thank everyone. I have not checked in on the views yet, but I want to thank everyone who watched the Noni Madueke video yesterday. Because I did that video for a specific for a specific section of this channel that understands football analysis and doesn't really just care about the dopamine of we have signed. And what I was trying to show you is Noni Madueke might not work out or might work out, but whichever scenario that comes, Mikel Arteta was intentional on signing Noni Madueke. Can play on the left, can play on the right. He's direct. His ball carrying is insane. Right? His box penetration is insane. That is what Arsenal need. Eze, just quality, man. Just quality. Just quality. Just quality. Very versatile as well. Plays everywhere. Direct. Would improve our transitions very much. Would improve the level of creativity in the team. Would improve the quality of options we've got on the bench. Xavi Simons I like as well, but with Xavi Simons I'm like, even if Arsenal don't get him wherever he goes, I'm not bothered really. I am not bothered at all.